Do you all know these things? What a regular verb is, irregular verb is? Are you familiar with this jargon of grammar? Okay, regular verbs. So there are some verbs that have ed at the end. Huh? For instance, like you need to fix your internet. Huh? So fix, then the past form is fixed. We put ed. Then again fixed. Laugh, laughed, laughed. Covered, covered, covered. So when the verbs have ed ending in the past and past participle form, we call them regular verbs. But then there are times when there is no regularity. All forms can be same. For instance, we can say put, right? Or we can say write, wrote, written. All are different. Or we can say said, said. So V2 and V3 are similar. Or run, ran, run. So V1 and V3 are similar, right? So there is no regularity. So we call them irregular verbs. So they're just around somewhere between 100 and 150, 120 something irregular verbs. Many a time, people go wrong with the past form only if they do not understand the past form of certain verbs, these irregular verbs especially. This difference is not seen. For example, let me give you an example. What was the past form for lie? I'm not talking about the lie where we tell a lie to somebody, but the lie, like when you're tired, you just lie down in bed. Oh, yesterday I was not feeling well. So whole day what should I put? Dash in bed. If you tell a lie to somebody, then that's a regular verb. Then that is lied, lied. But what do we do with the irregular verb?
LAD.
No, not LAID or LAD. LAY. LAY. Yesterday I was so tired that whole day I just lay in bed. Lay. Laid is for another one. That is you lay something, right? You lay the table, your mother lays the table for you. Or when these police people catch some arms and ammunition, they lay everything on a table or on the floor for the press people to see and take photographs. So that's a different verb. You see now? We've got two lie. So one is a regular verb where you tell a lie. Second is lie, like you lie down. Lay is the past form for this. What is the past participle form or V3? If I say, oh, she's not well. She's dash in bed the whole day since morning. Either you can say she's been lying in bed since morning, or you can say she's lain. These things have lain over here for a long time. Lain. Lie, lay, lain. So we need to be familiar. Lie, lay, lain. And this lay is laid. Like the hen lays eggs, is this one. So do you notice? So there are certain verbs that can give us a little confusion if you are not familiar with their past forms. What about broadcast? Should I say yesterday it was broadcasted on television or yesterday it was broadcast on television? What should I say?
Broadcasted.
Okay, just check, come on, quickly at your end. What's the past form of broadcast? Quickly. The internet is there, the dictionary is there. All of you can do that. What does the dictionary say? It says both of them. Now, if you look up in Oxford Dictionary, what does that say? So with some words, you'll find this both of them, because slowly few of the irregular verbs are changing into regular verbs. See, there is a change even in language. Earlier we used to say thou, thine, but now we don't say that. You, your, we say. So broadcast, yesterday it was broadcast on television. If you look up in the Oxford Dictionary, it varies from dictionary to dictionary also. Just check in Oxford, quick. Come on, all of you. What does the Oxford Dictionary say?
Broadcast.
Broadcast. You won't find broadcasted in the Oxford Dictionary. It's broadcast, broadcast, broadcast. Yesterday it was broadcast on. That way. So few things are changing. You know, it's something like this, like weightage. We say, oh, this has more weightage. Like sometimes we may say that in the IELTS writing test, writing task 2 has more weightage. But do you know the word weightage is not there in English? It's we Indians or Asians have given this word. We've come up with this word weightage. In English, you won't find it. Oxford Dictionary, you won't find the word weightage. Huh? It's a new word, but then every year some new words are taken in the English dictionary. But so far, weightage has not gone there, the Oxford one. So there are different dictionaries. So sometimes to check something, you should always look up the word in the Oxford Dictionary also, right? So we've got regular verbs and irregular verbs. Now you understand what they are? So it's with the irregular verbs that we can go wrong at times. Understand. What happens with the irregular verbs? Sometimes we go wrong with the pronunciation. For instance, should we pronounce this word as fixed or fix? Fixed or fixed? Fixed price. Everyone laughed at me. I matched everything. You know, when I matched the accessories when I got ready for the party. It sounds odd because in English, in these regular verbs, when you have the verbs that end with S or S sound, ch sound, f sound, p sound, k sound. You look at the sound. Then when you add ed to them, the sound is what? The sound is that of ch. So asked, mapped, slapped, laughed, matched. I watched it on television. Missed. I missed my bus in the morning. So what happens? Sometimes we tend to go wrong with the pronunciation in the past form. And when this T has to be there, many of us, the non-native speakers, we all are non-native speakers, we tend to leave out t sound. So while speaking, sometimes the other person feels as if you're not using the past form of the verb, whereas from your side, you are using. So when you speak on different topics, we'll have different activities. I'll be checking this also. Understand. Next is the auxiliary verbs. What are auxiliary verbs? They're the helping verbs. In the auxiliary verbs only, we also have these modals. Can, could, shall, should. Familiar with these words? May, might. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any word that gives you any, trouble, or you face a challenge using that? Out of these models?
Ought
Any?
to.
Ought to. Okay, ought to you use when you have to talk about your moral responsibility for something. Like if somebody gives you a gift on your birthday, Gungun, you ought to give a gift to that person on his or her birthday too, right? You ought to.
Okay.
These days, more like it's mostly should that has
Yeah.
replaced the word ought to. We use should for almost everything now. But ought to and should have this kind of this difference. Ought to is for the moral responsibility. It's a moral responsibility. Okay. What about finite verbs? Are you familiar with what finite verbs are and non-finite verbs? So finite verb is when you use verb as a verb, like I like. I like, I write. If I say I write stories, then I say Gungun writes stories. So if I change the subject, the person, the verb form also changes. If I change the time, oh, yesterday you all wrote a beautiful story. Everybody together wrote a beautiful story. So see how the form of the verb changes according to the past time. So when the verb form changes according to the person, like the subject, time, with the tense you can say, we call it a finite verb. Verb is used as verb. But then there are times we do not use the verb form as verb. We use it as noun. We use it as adjective. We use it as adverb. Like I can say, if I say that, oh, this is an interesting concept, right? I need a written apology. So when I say I need a written apology, I'm using the word written as an adjective. When I say this is an interesting concept, I'm using the word interesting, which is form of a verb, as an adjective, right? Don't we say swimming pool? I love jogging. I love walking long distance in the morning. So walking, jogging, these are all ing forms of verbs, but used as nouns, right? So when the verb is used as a noun, like we call them gerunds, participles, infinitives, just for your information. So they're all non-finite verbs. That is, verb used as a noun, as an adjective, as an adverb, but not as a verb, right? So learn to play with verbs. You can, if I say, oh, I'm going out. Now, why am I going out? I'm going out to meet my friend. So when I say to meet my friend here, meet is not used as verb. To meet is used as noun. I'm going out. So sorry, it's used as adverb. Why am I going out? So the adverb answers the question, why? Why something is happening. Right? So we call them non-finite verbs. So verb used as verb, finite verb, verb not used as verb, but as noun, adjective, adverb, non-finite verb. It's for your information, because there may be times when you might look up for something on the net, you try to find out what can be correct, and you'll find all such explanations there. Now let's come to the transitive verb. Now if I say look, simple example, you must be familiar with this. Birds fly. Okay. And then I say children fly. Which is correct? Logically correct. Which is logically correct out of these?
Birds fly.
Birds fly is logically correct. Why isn't children fly logically correct?
Because they don't have wings.
Children don't have wings. Okay. So, but it can be children fly something, right? Children fly what?
An aeroplane or
What? Exactly. They fly kites, they fly aeroplane, whatever it is. They fly something. So so that means when the verb requires an object. So there is a subject and object. If I say Gungun gave me the answer. So Gungun is the subject, gave me the answer. Me and answer are objects. So we have two types of objects, right? So understand there is subject. And if this subject performs an action, then there is object. Only when the subject, if I action of what kind, where the action verb requires an object. So subject performs an action, but all action verbs may not require an object. Like birds fly. So this time the verb fly does not require an object, right? When I say Dhruvil laughs every day in the class. So we don't say Dhruvil laughs what? Or Dhruvil laughs who? We don't say this. So then it does not require an object. The verb laugh does not require an object. But if I say Dhruvil said, now Dhruvil said what? So that requires an object. So the object is needed. Now this object can be of two types. It can be direct object or it can be indirect object. So what is direct and indirect? When I say it, let me repeat that. Gungun, I'm using your name. Gungun gave me the answer. So Gungun gave me the answer. Me is, Gungun gave whom? Me. So me is the indirect object. Gave me what? The answer. So answer is direct object. So remember, there can be direct object or indirect object, whatever it may be. If the verb requires an object, it is a transitive verb. Transit, that means there's a movement of action, right? If the verb does not require an object, then it is used intransitively. It's an intransitive verb. So sometimes the same verb can be used transitively or intransitively. Example is the verb fly, right? If the verb ends with f sound, ch sound, p, s, k, then the pronunciation is t, right? So ed has the pronunciation of t, right? But if the verb ends with ch sound, D sound. Then the pronunciation of ed is id, rated, added. Then it is, so ed becomes id. That's what it is. And for all of the verbs, it's just D sound, like covered, bowed. Irregular verbs, I hope this is clear. So sometimes all these three forms can be same. Sometimes it's the second and the third one that are same. Ing is of course like this, or sometimes the first and the third are same, like come, came, come, run, ran, run. And sometimes all three are different. So that's why we call them irregular verbs, right? Models, all these 13, can, could, may, might, shall, should. If you have a problem, suddenly you have a doubt. Okay, one more thing. Anytime you have a doubt regarding anything, you can always post it in the WhatsApp group. So that WhatsApp group is for us all to grow. No, of course, I would also like to learn some new things from you all. So please share from time to time. Now, these three are, of course, the main verbs, but then they're also used as helping verbs. So different forms of the verb be. Is, am, are, was, were, been, being. So they help us. They help us in saying something in continuous tense. Like I cannot say, oh, I teaching. I should say, I am teaching. So for continuous tense, that is needed. And then for passive voice, if I say that, okay, if I can see Shardul's name right here now. So if I say Shardul sends the mails, Shardul sends a message to everyone. So how should I put it in passive, Shardul? Shardul? I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yes, ma'am.
So how should I say it in passive voice? When I say Shardul sends the message to everyone, passive voice for this? Are you? I'm sure you all are familiar with it, but probably you've forgotten because of the name. So let's look at this. Shardul, who sends the messages in this group? Shardul sends the message to everyone. We are focusing on the doer of the action. But if you focus on the result of the action, then how will it be?
Messages sent by Shardul to everyone.
Correct. That's passive voice. And that's what I said. Okay. I'm sure you must be familiar with it. It's just this, you know, those technical terms. You all have different technical terms. In grammar, we have different. So this is all jargon. Clear now? So that's passive voice. So in passive voice also, we need help of the different forms of be verb. Is, am, are, was, were. We need their help. Have, different forms are used in perfect tenses. I cannot say I done this work. I've done this work. So we take help. Do, if we have to put something in negative, you know, we have the affirmative sentences and the negative sentences. So when you put something in negative, then you need its help. So it's like you contemplate. Contemplate is you think about something. You contemplate daily. Negative is you don't contemplate, right? Go there. Don't go there. I wrote this. I didn't write this. See how we are using this? To put something in negative. And when we use this as the helping verb, the main verb is always in its present form. So I cannot say I didn't did this. I didn't do this. He didn't went. No, he didn't go. So just remember this. And you all are good. I've already seen that. So I doubt if this kind of a mistake will be made. But still, you know, we all are human beings. We tend to falter at times. You understand now? Next thing that I told you was about this finite and non-finite verbs. So if you look at this, I like flowers. My friend likes flowers. I like yellow. This is the way we use. We have the finite verb. You use verb as a verb. But the moment you use it as noun, like reading is a good hobby, you're using it as a noun. I'm going to the library to read. Why am I going? So using it as adverb. I have a reading room. What kind of a room? A reading room. You use it as adjective. So when you use the verb as the noun, adverb or adjective, then this is non-finite. Right? So we need to be careful when we use the verb as a non-finite verb. If you play with verbs, we can use them. So many other things. So when you do not have the standard form of noun, you use the verb form. When you do not have the standard form of adjective, you use a verb form. So this is what, like I told you something about transitive and intransitive. So direct and indirect, some verbs need an object. So they are transitive, right? Direct and indirect, like she said this to me. So this what? Direct object. She told me this. She told whom? Indirect object. She explained it to me. Now, why should we understand this direct and indirect? You must be wondering, why am I sharing this information with you? A common mistake. Look at this word, explain. Explain is a common word. We use it almost every day. Now, should I say, let me explain you, or let me explain it to you? What should I say? Anyone, please answer. Should I say, let me explain you, or let me explain it to you?
Explain it to you.
Explain it to you, because the verb explain does not take an indirect object after it. It takes a direct object. You always explain something to someone. Something to someone. So I'll explain to you. I'll explain it to you, but not I'll explain you. You don't explain somebody. You explain something to someone. Say is another one. I'm sure you might have heard your friends or somebody or the other saying this. Oh, she said me this. So that's wrong. She said it to me, or she told me this. Right? So this was the example I gave you here, because the verb needs an object. Like if I say the Titanic, we all have seen the movie Titanic. Huh? So the Titanic sank. It does not require an object. We don't say sank what. But when I say the Titanic hit what? Hit home, right? So hit what? It hit the iceberg. So there, that's the transitive verb. You require an object for it. So sometimes you'll have to be careful what kind of object is needed. Direct object or indirect object. Now, if you tell your friends, okay, your friend says, I'm going to the party or I'm going out. Okay, enjoy. Now, enjoy what? Enjoy yourself, right? We need to put it that way.